Worker Anonymous here again, and I'm at my workbench, and I built this tool well similar to one I saw Jay Bates build. I have this big tool bench, and see, I'm a very sloppy worker, and I got all this crap on top of my workbench. Normally it goes in this tool holder, but the tool holder is getting filled up with dust all the time, and vacuuming that out is getting in there, and it's a pain to vacuum it out because then you suck out like little tools in there that you might have. So that's bothering me more than I ever thought it would. So I'm actually trying to fix that. So basically, I'm cutting the tool well down about 3/4, and then I'm going to add a lid, and the lid's just going to have a clear plexiglass on it. And so then I'll be able to close it and open it and keep the dust out. And just showing you what's going on here. Actually works out to, it's going to be okay. I made 3 of these little doors that hinge open and haven't attached them yet. I'm still in the middle of doing this. But one of the things that's cool about it is now that you have this, when you pull out a few screws or something, you're in the middle of assembly or something, they can just go right on top there, and it's like on top of the plexiglass, and they're below surface grade, so they're not in the way. Things can slide around without like knocking screws all over the place. It actually works out pretty good. And I had some extra clear plexiglass laying around, not much, but it's cool. So then I can see what tools I have in there if I'm looking. I'm going to put a piano hinge along on these things, so you just be able to flip them up, reach in there, grab what you need, and then drop it back down. In the process of cutting all the plexiglass to fit, and anyway, I'll show you a little bit more of this when it's done. Just wanted to share with you like this idea that I think is really going to step up the game a little bit, because I do like having a tool well. I just don't like all the dust it catches. So while I'm at it, I want to show you what I'm doing to actually cut this plexiglass without ruining it, which, how easy that can be. This is pretty thin stuff. It's 1/8 of an inch, so, trying to get it to cut right. You could use a table saw with the right blade. I don't have the right blade. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a straight edge piece of wood here, piece of scrap plywood, put it along the line that I want to cut it on. I'm going to clamp it down nice and tight, and then just take one of these vibra tools, with, I think this is like a drywall cutting blade or wood cutting blade, one or the other. I think it's a drywall cutting blade. Anyway, get this thing all clamped down nice and tight, run this along your line, say 5 or 6 times, get it about halfway through, and then just take a piece of another piece of wood here and just like move that line right to the edge of your workbench. Get it right, get everything lined up right on the edge, clamp it down, and then snap it off. It never fails, it goes right along the line. Just make sure you do a nice crease or a nice score with that thing. Get it at least 1/4 of the way through, all the way along the line. And you get nice perfect straight breaks every time. Saves a lot of cursing and whatnot, like when you ruin a piece of plexiglass. So. And another plexiglass tip, if you're ever working with plexiglass, because this can be frustrating stuff. Drilling pilot holes here for the screws are going to hold this to the underside of these little doors. Well, you got to make sure you use the right drill bit, otherwise you're going to have problems. And what I mean by that is, this is a good drill bit. I think it's a metal twist bit, and you can see on the flutes, I don't know if you can see that, but on the flutes, there's no like little like raised cutting edge. It's a smooth circumference. Cutting edge is just provide nice and, that's hard to see, I guess, but it's a smooth on the circumference of this. If you're trying to use a different kind, I had one like this. This is like, I think it's a wood drill bit more mostly. But you can see like on the edges, there's a little bit of a raised flute. Don't use these to drill pilot holes in the plexiglass, because those little flutes grab the plexiglass and like pull the plexiglass right up on the shaft, and bends it, and then it'll get a crack or whatever. Just screw it all up. Nice smooth flutes, and you should have no problem. And then, of course, a little countersink bit. And that's a second tip for the day on plexiglass. All right, so this is pretty much the finished build on it. Without going into too much detail, he's just on a piano hinge. You can reach in here, get you want, and you don't want to leave it like this, so it's going to force you to close it all the time, which keeps the dust out. I mean, there'll be dust in here, but that'll come up when I clean the workbench top. Don't have to worry about sucking up little pieces of tool and tool drivers and stuff trying to clean out these once I get them cleaned out. Just have a little ridge here. Turn that over. Works really good, and it's all about 1/8 of an inch below grade, so no interference with any projects when you're trying to move stuff around on the table. And like I said, these little recesses here actually work really good for like holding the screws that you're using. You can still like slide stuff around without knocking that off, which is actually pretty cool. Didn't even think about it when I built it. Just kind of like realized it as after it was done, and really like it. So anyway, cool. If you have any other ideas how I can make it even better, let me know. All right, take care.